They call it July. The audio not your vote, your TFS.
Mayor at 6 o'clock.
All right. 6 o'clock, we'll get started with our meeting of the Mount Pleasant City Commission, and with that, we'll call the meeting to order. And we're going to ask Steve Renfro if he would do the prayer, and then we're going to ask our Eagle Scouts for recognizing tonight to do the pledge for us. So if everybody would stand, please.
Bow our heads. Our precious Heavenly Father, as we come to you at the end of another day, we're just thankful for each blessing that you provide. We're thankful for this time of year that we celebrate the birth of your Son, Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, and help us not only celebrate now, but each day of the year. We thank you for all good things, and help us all to do, each of us do what is good for the city of Mount Pleasant. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, roll call, please, ma'am.
Ms. Granberry? Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. White?
Here.
Ms. Blankenship? Here. And Mr. Smith?
Here.
All present.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we have two sets of minutes from our study session on November the 14th and then the regular meeting of November the 19th. And if everybody's had an opportunity to read those over, I'll entertain a motion.
I haven't had an opportunity to read over them, Mayor Watt. I will make a motion we approve them as presented.
All right, we have a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, awards and presentations. Chief Hayes?
November 1st.
You're first.
I think we're going to save the best for last.
Mayor Commissioner, our new Officer Jesse Lovett, his family's from the Sandy Hook area. He's worked in Columbia and Spring Hill. He's been certified for 5 or 6 years.
Excellent.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Jesse Lovett,
Do hereby swear
do hereby swear
that I have all the qualifications
that I have all the qualifications
named in the Charter of the City of Mount Pleasant
named in the Charter of the City of Mount Pleasant
for the office of a member of the Police Department
for the office and a member of the Police Department
of the City of Mount
of
Pleasant,
the City of Mount Pleasant,
which I am about to assume,
which I am about to assume,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the State of Tennessee,
and of the State of Tennessee,
that I will comply with
that I will comply with
and observe
and observe
the provisions of the Charter of the City of Mount Pleasant
the provisions of the Charter of the City of Mount Pleasant
and the ordinances of the City of Mount Pleasant,
and the ordinances of the City of Mount Pleasant,
and I will faithfully perform
and I will faithfully perform
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
All right, next we have a couple of four proclamations here. The first we're going to do is the youth football. And what we'll do, if it's okay with everybody, we'll do this and then we'll go out into the lobby and we'll get a photograph so y'all can have this. And if you don't mind, Kate, we need to find out about how many copies we may need to burn of this for these folks. But I'll get started. Is whereas the City of Mount Pleasant and all of its citizens are rightly proud of its young residents, and whereas the city recognizes the Mount Pleasant Youth Football League 10 to 12-year-old division players, cheerleaders, and coaches as an integral part of this community, and whereas this team has exemplified the high standards of good sportsmanship and personal conduct in their championship for the 2019 and 20 season. They had an 8-0 record in the regular season and 3-0 in the playoffs. They were the champions in the Tri-County Junior Pro League Super Bowl Championship completing an undefeated 11-0 season. That's awesome. That is awesome. Their head coach, Chris Claude, and assistant coaches Kendall Lane, Jeremy Whitaker, Doyle McKee, Corey Washington, Ethan Davis, cheer coach Jamie Young, coach Tony Marlowe, and Jeffrey Dobbins were all very instrumental in helping them obtain these outstanding wins and the championship. Whereas the City of Mount Pleasant Youth Football League has represented the City of Mount Pleasant, Maury County, and the state of Tennessee with the highest of standards and participations, and now, therefore, I, Bill White, Mayor of the City of Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim the date of December 17th as Mount Pleasant Youth Football League Day. In honor of them, and do call upon them, all of the citizens and residents of the City of Mount Pleasant to join us in duly recognizing the outstanding performance of this team. And it's signed with my signature.
I think we need to stand and
Yeah,
let all these guys know,
yeah.
how much we appreciate.
Yeah, if everybody that's part of this, if you don't mind standing, please. We appreciate everything you do. Fantastic. Again, thanks to all of you for making an effort to get here. I know it's not the best night in the world to be out. Would any of the coaches or any of the representatives like to say a word right quick before we get a picture made?
Let's see who y'all are, come on up. We know you're not shy. Come on, coaches, come up front.
I'm the president of the organization, Tony Marlowe.
Yes, sir.
I thank y'all, appreciate y'all for getting behind us in the community.
Thank you, Tony.
Without y'all, we couldn't do this. Appreciate it.
And without you, we couldn't do this, so thank y'all very much. Why don't y'all hang around for just a second, and then we'll do a photo. I got 3 more I need to do right quick, and we'll move through them, and then we'll get all this done at one time. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna do all 3 of y'all at once. Is that okay?
That's fine, we only have 2 here this evening.
Okay,
The other one's
great.
studying, so.
All right. We had 3 Eagle Scouts we want to represent, or recognize tonight. I know I never could obtain the Eagle Scout, and I know what a tough deal it is, so congratulations. It's quite an honor. Be it known that whereas the citizens of Mount Pleasant are rightfully proud of those individuals who bring personal pride, have a dedication to success, believe in family and spiritual values, and bring recognition to our city, and whereas Martin Andrew Trammell, William Davidson Craig III, and Jonathan Gray Corbin are members of Boy Scout Troop 154, making sure it's all the same, in Mount Pleasant, possess the characteristics and is being recognized for his outstanding accomplishments in the Boy Scouts of America. Whereas each has earned the prestigious Eagle Scout rank, the highest rank a Boy Scout can receive. His Eagle Scout project was to build shelves for the Spring Hill Band's trailer, handicap accessible pit with a gate to obtain the materials necessary, and project to renovate the gazebo and landscaping at Zion Presbyterian Church. Each project involved many, and they cleaned up stained wood decking. They've done a whole lot of things to help as each one of these. Whereas the City of Mount Pleasant and its Mayor and Board of Commissioners wish to join in honoring these outstanding individuals for their accomplishments at this time, now therefore I, Bill White, Mayor of the City of Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim Sunday, October the 27th, as Martin Andrew Trammell Day, William Davidson Craig III Day, and Jonathan Gray Corbin Day, and call upon all citizens of the City of Mount Pleasant to join us in recognizing each of these for their achievements in honor of carrying the rank of Eagle Scout. So, congratulations. Anybody got anything you'd like to say right quick?
I'd just like to thank the community, because I know there's been a lot of work being done on our scout hut. We're very appreciative of that. It's neat to see the progress as it's coming, so we're looking forward to helping kind of do some trim work and things as that.
Awesome, that's what we need.
And guys, Bill may not have gotten an Eagle Scout, but I did as a Girl Scout, got the Girl Scout honor for it, and I know how
It's
much
tough.
it did, and I'm really proud of what you achieved. And
Thank you.
Thank you as a Scout Master and Dad for seeing them through, and we're real proud of you guys.
Absolutely.
And Tony Marlowe, I am really proud of you.
So with that, we'll do some thorough right quick. Would any of the commissioners like to join me in this? I'd be more than happy for you to. We'll just run right out here right quick. Anybody that'd like to do it?
And y'all are you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's really exciting. It's a lovely meeting.
And you're a day with my birthday.
Oh, excellent. Even better. Wow.
They do give Girl Scouts that, they just call it first class, and now they call it silver and gold.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. I wouldn't know.
Hey, look, it's really good on resumes when you're going to college.
Sure, yeah.
Presidents have done that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They just sent out a scholarship for all of us. Yeah.
Look, it feels great on John.
It'll get you a conversation.
Yep. It was 2 to 5. I thought it was like 3.
I've got 2 of Yeah. Somebody said, I know one guy, and I'm like, everybody else that does, we work together, and I don't know what he does, but I know he does. I said, go by there, and he But he was great, we brought him in like, there's a show that they had put on. Yeah, Hey, that have a lot of our.
Yeah.
So they try to. You might pass it on. Yeah, there's some stuff you might.
I'll probably have it for you, scan it all.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's what I had too, that's why.
We deduct, pay
Yeah.
for every minute you go over 5 minutes.
I'll be fine, man.
Come do karaoke with us Thursday night? Oh, you need to come watch.
I can do some karaoke.
Thursday night. o'clock. Jackie, that bag was for me. Thank you.
All right, folks. Back to work.
Stand out, but all right, next up we've got in Loretta, if there's anything you'd like to say at first, except the audit of 1819, Kate or Loretta, either one like to say anything, I'd be happy for you to do that.
I'll just, turn it over, with Belmont, CPA firm, did our audit, as we contracted in the last spring. They completed our audit just last month, and they're here to present the report tonight. I'll just turn it over to Mr. Belmont.
Thank you. Thank you for having me come out and present the audit report. We always appreciate working with you guys and coming out and presenting the audit report. I've been told to keep this brief, so I will do just that.
Who said that?
Couple people. Don't want to put anybody to sleep. So, I'm John Bellenfant of Bellenfant CPA. I'll just go over a few highlights in the audit report. I'll just have you flip a couple times. The first time will just be to page 7. This is our independent auditor's report. So this is a standard letter from our firm to the mayor and city commissioners of the city of Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. This report just states that management is responsible for the financial statements, and the auditor's responsibility is to audit the financial statements and provide an opinion based on our audit. And our opinion for the year ended June 30, 2019 is unmodified, which is essentially a clean audit opinion, and this is consistent with all prior years that we have audited, and we have been an audit firm since 2013. So the next thing I will highlight is on page 14. These pages 10 through 16 is our management discussion analysis. This really kind of gives an overview of the next 90 pages or so. So if you kind of want to read a synopsis or a summary of the report, I'd recommend reading 10 through 16. But if you see on page 14, this kind of gives a side-by-side comparison of the statement of activities. So it details out all revenues and expenditures on a comparison basis, June 30, 2018 versus June 30, 2019. So you can see a nice increase in revenues of about $1.35 million from 18 to 19, followed up with total expenditures increasing by about $800,000. So the total bottom line or increase in net position for the city is that first column, June 30, 2019, that bottom number, $1.746 million. So a healthy measure there, always good obviously for your revenues to exceed your expenditures, but by a healthy amount of about $1.75 million is always good news to represent. So I always like to touch on that. I won't get too much into the balance sheet or anything like that. I will just go to the back of the report. They always put the good stuff in the front and back. So if you flip to 94, this is another standard letter from our firm to the mayor and city commissioners of the city of Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. This just touches on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance in accordance with governmental auditing standards. An unmodified opinion on on compliance and internal control here as well. So 2 clean audit opinions on both of these matters. And then behind this you would find on 96 and 97 if there were findings to represent from this year or last year, none of which we have represented here. And just to touch on findings in general, so we did have an unmodified opinion and it was clean in both audit reports. However, we do have audit adjustments, 2 or 3 per fund, which are just normal audit adjustments that we typically see every time. They can be on any different matter. It just depends on what we find and just getting them to the correct balances. However, some of those adjustments were, to a level of concern where we would need to represent a finding. You would find that here. So, it's great. You don't want any findings. You want a clean audit opinion. You've reached both of that. There were some audit adjustments, so something to be aware of. There's also a separate letter that's issued outside of the blue binded report. This would go over any difficulties in performing the audit. or any disagreements with management, neither of which we have to represent. So, I think nothing but good news for you guys. Clean audit opinion, strong financials, great bottom line for June 30, 2019. So if you all have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those now. If you have questions later, or contact information's on our letterhead, I'd be happy to answer those later. And Kate and Loretta reach out to us throughout the year as well. So anything you guys ever have any questions on, we'll be happy to answer.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate what y'all do, and thank you very much. There's just a couple of comments I want to make. I want to thank everybody that has anything to do with this. I can remember when I first started serving, and I looked at I wasn't too happy. It was, I'm not going to say it was in a bad shape, but it was in a bad shape. And to know that in a couple of years we've got $1.7 million over and above, I think everybody here deserves a thank you. And I mean that it's the work that you guys do every day, day in and day out, that make that possible. So thank y'all. That's who deserves it. So Kate, Loretta, Sonia, everybody, I'm not just picking out certain ones, but all of you, thank you very much. I mean, great. So with that, any other comments from the commission? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept as presented.
We have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. If you don't mind, let's have a roll call, please, since the importance of this.
Okay. Ms. Granberry?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Ms. Blankenship?
Yes.
And Mr. Smith?
Yes.
All yes.
Thank you. Passes 5-0. Thank you very much again.
Appreciate it. And most of you know that this audit has to be accepted by the Comptroller's Office of the state,
Correct.
and once that happens, it'll be on our website and the state's website.
Thank you all.
Thank
And I don't
you.
see us having the same problem Metro.
Have a good holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. There is also going to be an attachment to this that came from Corey that I think everybody's seen. It should be part of this at some point in time. I know the rest of them have not seen this.
But legal letters,
Legal letters.
it's not part of the audit, but it's part of working on the
Yeah.
audit.
That has to be done.
Yeah. So just FYI for everybody. All right. Communication Committee, Dolores and Beverly, just when you get a chance, we're going to try to do this sometime in the middle part of January if we get a name, please.
The first meeting is January 15th.
Yeah. So we got some time.
I still haven't had a yes yet. I don't want to have the same problem that we've had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's good. I'm good with that.
I didn't have a yes either.
That's fine. We're good. We got some days. All right, completion review of unfinished business from prior meeting. A, ordinance 2019-1044. It's a public hearing and a final reading. As an ordinance to amend Title 18 of the Mount Pleasant Municipal Code relating to sewer use by repealing Chapter 2 in its entirety and replacing Title 18, Chapter 2, with a new chapter pertaining to sewer use. And I'm not sure who wants to cover that.
Mayor and members of the commission, as the mayor stated, this is up for second reading, and there have been changes made since the first reading. This has gone through Matthew Johnson, the engineer, Bobby Nutt, who's helping us out in the interim, and discussions with Corey, and she's made those changes in there, and she's left them redlined so that you can see what they are. I'll let her touch on what those are, and then if anybody wants to speak, since it's a public hearing, we'll
Yes,
allow that.
absolutely.
So most of, I think we went over all the changes from the original ordinance that, we made some changes that we talked about on first reading.
Mhm.
So these are just the changes that were made since the first reading to now. This one came from Bobby Nutt, who's acting as the interim for the sewer department. So the first change was that there are cleanouts that are required on property lines, and we are requiring them to be enclosed. He calls it a cleanout box. And so basically those have to be enclosed, and the engineer has to give approval of the dimensions and things of that cleanout box. It's just the cleanout box on the property line. Let's see, any designs, engineering designs for, let's see, actually it'd be easier to go through my actual red lines. basically any designs for any projects have to be approved by the city's engineer. So I think there were more than one, edit to that effect, but basically if someone is doing something on their own property or they're extending a sewer line, they can have someone submit a plan, but the city's engineer has to approve it to make sure we think it's effective. Then there's also bonds, performance bonds required for any of those projects. And if I could find it, I would tell you exactly which type of project. So sewer extensions, that's what we're talking about. Anytime somebody does a sewer extension, the design for that needs to be approved by the engineer. And a performance bond of 125% of the cost estimate of the entire project would be put up before the project starts. And that's to make sure that the city isn't left with an uncompleted project, that it has to fund to use it. And then also there's a 1-year warranty period after it's completed, and during that time, the bond is called a maintenance bond, and it's reduced to 25% of the total cost of the project. So, that's done for both sewer extensions and then also different types of projects that someone would be doing that involve the city sewer.
And those are mostly all in 203, I'm sorry, the end of that section. Everybody wants to look at it.
Yeah. Then we have sometimes, grinder pumps are installed, and we had that they were maintained by the homeowner, not the city.
Mm-hmm.
So that's included in here, and that's a change. Again, pretty much any kind of installation of those pumps needs to be approved by the city's engineer to make sure that's effective. And also, the grinder pumps, that would be approved. You have to have a bond, 125% of the project, then reduced to 25% of the total cost once the project is done during the warranty period. Then there was tank cleaning. Now that's the responsibility of the homeowner. The city, I think it used to say that the city would do it every 5 years, but now we've taken that part out at the recommendation of Mr. Nutt.
And most of this is to keep us in line with state regulations as well.
Right.
And I think that was, we took out a provision about the city indemnifying any homeowner if the city were to be doing work on their property, and then made sure that city standards are always considered when these engineers are designing plans. So I do think you have a copy of the red line, so you can see it. If any of those things sounded like you need more explanation, let me know. We can try to talk through it.
I think, as always, things should be carried by our city engineers and the wing boards.
We pay for it if not, yes.
So,
Any other questions from the commission?
no, sir.
Anyone here like to speak concerning this? Please let the minutes show that no one asked to speak. All right. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion in favor of ordinance 2019-10.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Again, I think this is pretty important. Let's do a roll call if you don't mind. It's sewage and we've got to get this taken care of.
Yes. Ms. Granberry?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Ms. Blankenship?
Yes.
And Mr. Smith?
Yes.
It'd be
All right.
5-0.
5-0. All right, number 7, monthly report from Mayor, and I'll be brief. This past Saturday morning went over, and there were a lot of folks there that I see here tonight helping out with the Santa trolley, and that was, it was fulfilling to be over there. It's a lot of great work that goes on by a lot of great people, and it didn't happen overnight, I promise you. What they do lasts for, Mr. Patton, how long? A couple of weeks or longer? Nightly, I'm not talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about every night, those folks are over there doing
Probably
something for a
a month.
couple of weeks. So I just want to make sure that if you run into any of those folks that might not be here, that everybody knows how much the city appreciates what they did, because it's great work. Second would be the Scout Hut. I think everybody, I hope you've been by, you can see the work that's been done. The rest of it, for the most part, and talking with some of the folks that have been pitching in, is a lot of the rest of it's going to be done in volunteer work, so that we've got the worst of the money spent already on it, so the rest of it will be volunteer work, and then a lot of it's going to be by the Scout troops. And that's going to be available for every Scout troop to use, not just Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, but all Scouts. And that's what that's for, and for all of the community. It's gonna, I think at the end of the day, once it's done, I think we're gonna have a pretty nice place for a lot of people to use. So, thanks to everybody that's doing that, and then certainly, not the least, but would be the parade and what everybody did on Mayberry here that day, because there was a lot of work that went on there, starting at about 9 o'clock that morning and ending at 6:30 or so that night, so.
7 in the morning.
So, yeah, some of us were there early, so anyway, thanks to all of y'all for that. That's all I've got. Just wanted, again, I wanted to thank everybody for all the work they've done over the past couple of weeks and making sure that all members of our community have a good and happy Merry Christmas. So that's what it's about. Monthly financial and budget report, Ms. Loretta.
November is generally one of the more leaner months. It's just right before we get the big influx, and December's where we get the biggest chunk of our property taxes, and usually right around December 31st. The biggest reason for that is your mortgage companies. They pay year-end, and they will get, you know, stacks of them. So those generally are, like I said, at the end of December. So November is usually kind of, you get that first October when people first get their tax bills, you get those people, they come on in and pay, and November kind of goes down, and then December you get people right there at the end of December, early January that get those in paid, and then you kind of hold off until the end of February. And then that's when the last group kind of comes in. So it kind of comes in spurts, and November is generally one of the smaller ones of that. We are at 33.4% of budgeted of revenue, so that's it's pretty close. Total expenditures are actually 36.45, which is actually 5% less than what you would normally see this time of year. So that's actually a good measure for the year. Our auditors, again, presented tonight, and as we mentioned before, that the audit report will be available on our website after the state has approved it. That generally takes a month to 2 months to get those approvals. As they approve every city in the state, so it does take them a while to get those done, and they will also be on their website as well. Do I have any questions?
No, ma'am. Appreciate it. Any questions?
Thank you so much.
All
I
right.
do point out that if you notice on that management report, the one big adjustment we had to make was we had a little timing difference in when we received the fire engine. We had budgeted for it. We had done everything to ending this 2019 fiscal year, but it ended up being August before we actually received it in, so we had a little timing difference there.
It's gonna happen. All right, I'll entertain a motion that we accept.
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Monthly report from city manager.
Mayor and Commissioner, I take all the department reports to create the State of the City, which is available the first of the month and online. It'll be available January 1st. And then just wanted to kind of give you a heads up. We all know that we're looking for a new Public Works Director. Every day I'm learning more and more that we have a lot of work to do in Public Works, and it's going to be a real challenge for the new director. We do have 3 interviews scheduled for tomorrow afternoon, and we are involving the engineers with our interviews. Don't know if this will be, I don't think this will be the final point of our interviews, but at least we're getting started on that. And on the same note, the department has asked if they can postpone their Christmas breakfast on Friday because they are just truly covered up. And it's really not an opportune time for them to be stopping what they're doing and planning that breakfast. So we are going to do it again, and we'll give you plenty of notice on that, but there's not going to be one on this Friday.
And that was at the risk of them because they are slammed, and I was in
I
full agreement.
I basically granted their request, so, and that's all I had.
All right, that doesn't require a motion.
No, only like Loretta stuff.
And there's a neat picture of the scout hut in your state of the city.
Mhm.
If anybody wants to see it, you can go by.
All right. Number 10, special reports from other city departments or committees, wastewater.
Mayor and Commissioners, you did have the study session, an update from Barge Design dated 12/12/19, just kind of keeping you posted. Anybody not get this, I have some extra copies, happy to give them to you, but they've agreed to just kind of give us a monthly bullet point list, and sometimes there'll be major changes, sometimes not. We are going to be coming back to you in January. The biomag system is coming in over budget, and we are going to be looking at other options, so we'll probably have to have a vote on that in January. And we're going to be taking some trips to look at some other systems in other cities with Eric Kennedy, the plant manager out there as well.
I think that's a good idea, and I asked when we were met with them a couple of months ago if they would provide this to us about once every month or every other month, just so we kind of got a high level.
See what's going on.
Because people are going to start seeing things happen finally after how many years?
We have a pre-construction meeting tomorrow for the headworks at the plant, the county CDBG, and that construction should start late January.
And so that's going to be great. It's going to be great for people in the city to see where their money's finally going. And we're going to get there this time. Mount Pleasant Gas.
Okay, on the gas system, just wanted to let you know again, since we're out at Public Works Director, we want to make sure that everybody has a comfort level on the commission that we're where we need to be in the gas department, and I've asked our outside consultant from TriStar, his name is Jerry Foreman, to come in at a study session and just kind of go over state regs, how we're complying with those state regs, how they're making sure that we're in compliance with all those regs and safety issues and training. And I've given him some study sessions, and hopefully sooner than later they'll be here, and all of you can ask some questions that you may have about our gas operations.
Good. All right, any comments on this? Doesn't require a motion. Number 11, new business, and I can tell you 38 through 41 are all the same, but we can't treat them all the same?
Yes, they're all exactly the same. I have here, I think it talked about the study session, is these plans we'd already done. They'd all been accepted by the state as they should have been, but they also needed to be adopted by you. Most of them are renewable on a 3-year basis, so it's something that we'll do on a regular basis.
Going
So
forward.
the first one being the emergency plan.
Yeah, I'll go through these right quick, and we'll get a motion on each. Resolution 2019-38, a resolution adopting the City of Mount Pleasant emergency plan. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the resolution 2019-38 as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2019-39, cross connection plan. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept.
Have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second it.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
C, Resolution 2019-40, adopting the City of Mount Pleasant drought plan.
I'll make a motion we accept resolution
Motion, do we-
2019-40.
Motion, do we have a second?
Make it second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. D, Resolution 2019-41, adopting the City of Mount Pleasant wellhead protection plan.
Make a motion to accept 2019-41 as presented.
All right, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a couple of seconds. All those in favor?
Aye. And Mayor and
Opposed?
Commissioners, just so you know, these are 3-year plans, but we are required to document an annual review of the plan as well, to keep them up to date.
That's good. I mean, we're catching up on some things. That's not all bad.
Can't do on each one of each department, reviews these and presents them to us? Is that what, like we did?
The only reason it'll come back to you is if it's the 3-year time or we've made changes at the annual review.
Okay.
If any changes are made, we'd have to come back and get it approved
But
again.
the annual review is done by
It
the
does
department?
in-house.
Okay.
Mhm.
I was just making sure I understood that. Gotcha.
No, that's fine. All right, C, Resolution 2019-42, resolution authorizing the City of Mount Pleasant, Tennessee to execute and enter into a contract in writing with B.H. Craig Construction, including bond and supporting documents for the 2018 Murray County CDBG wastewater treatment improvements, project number 34808.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is what we just talked about a minute ago. This is the headworks at the plant. This is the first construction you're going to see. This is the Murray County CDBG that we were granted. And this is the 405 pages that we talked about that is available, and we've got a box with 5 original copies that need to be signed. And I'll let Corey touch on it for a little bit, because we had a conference call with the Matthew Johnson, the engineer, just to make sure that she and I and he were all on the same page about this.
So what this is this is the city's contract with the contractor that's going to complete the work at the Headworks project. So Barge Design, so you already have a contract with, has designed the total, all 4 different separate projects, but this is one that's funded by the CDBG, and they set it out so that it's totally funded by them. And so Barge drafted the design and the specifications and exactly what they're supposed to do, put together the bid package, which was sent out, and then accepted last month. So the city basically sent out this bid, and B.H. Craig came back as the lowest bid in compliance with that. So you accepted the bid, and when you accepted the bid, it's mostly what's in that booklet that Mayor White has behind him. So this contract is prepared, since we're taking funds from CDBG, it's prepared by them. So same story as when we went through Barge, but the contract is originally drafted by CDBG. It's got all, it's how they want it is where you get the money. You can make changes, but you have to go through this. You have to get their approval for everything. But what Barge did is they drafted additions to the contract that go along with those general terms from CDBG. So it's very standard. Basically how this works is, again, B.H. Craig will be responsible for doing the work per the plans that Barge designed. Barge will have an inspector out there that works for them, that's acting as the city's agent, that will go out and check everything and try to make sure that that the contractor is building the project the way it's supposed to be built. But the city's contract is with the contractor. So Barge isn't taking liability for that. They're just offering that service to go out and try to check everything. So the city is very much relying on its professionals, you know, its engineer to check things, but also it's the contractor who Barge has approved. They worked with before and they wrote that letter. This contractor is fully bonded. That's in the contract. But
Someone local too, what do you do?
Lawrence.
Lawrence, yeah.
so that's how it works. Barge prepares the plans, and this contractor executes it. Any payment comes through, gets approved by Barge before it's paid by the city. So really Barge is acting as the city's agent, but it is the city's contract, so.
And I want to reiterate what Corey said. One of the things, if y'all remember, I was adamant about is each one of these projects is going to be fully bonded this time.
I agree, Bill.
So it is, I've already read the documents, and it is fully bonded, so.
I can get behind that.
And one of, I mean, we've talked about this, like I said, at length, and, you know, there's no possible way to eliminate any risk, but the city, I think, has due diligence to be put in the best position to have minimal risk, and that part of the bond is the biggest part of that.
That's right. We'll get it done. Any other questions? With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion in favor of Resolution 2019-42 for the city to enter into a contract in writing with B.H. Craig Construction.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? We got a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. F, Resolution 2019-43 is going to be deferred to our January meeting, please. I've already signed the application, but they just didn't get the leases back to Michael in time for this meeting, so,
We actually received the approval and the financing, but not the actual agreement for you to vote on.
so we'll do that. We'll just defer this, please.
January 21st.
Can you make a motion?
Do we have a motion to defer that, please?
Make a motion to defer to the January meeting.
Second? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries. G, approval of write-offs, and each of you saw that at the study meeting.
Have a copy if you need it, but you did see it, and we just need a motion that you approve what
And
you
again,
saw.
if you see anything on there that Mike could help with, just let them know, but I know everybody's already had a chance to look at it, so this is confidential information, so I'm very cautious as to how we go about this.
And we still do actively collect, or
Yes.
just take them off the books.
That's right.
And I do want to point out that, if you see, this is the first one we have done in several months due to the conversion.
Yeah.
We're trying to,
A whole lot less than we've been.
A whole
That's
lot.
right.
a whole lot less, and we do have a couple more that we
Did some
know
catching
of.
up finally.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yes.
Make a motion, please.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Got any comments, Chief A? No comments, but I'll ask anybody one more time if they've got anything they'd like to bring up. Don't see any hands. General comments are done. Only thing I want to say to everybody is Merry Christmas. Please spend some time with your families. They're important. And everybody be safe. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion for adjournment? We have a motion.
Everybody needs to have a happy holiday, be safe, love on your kids, love on your neighbors that don't have anybody, make them feel like that they do. This is the high season of suicide. 4 family members in less than 2 weeks, so, just let them know that they're loved and ready to live next door to you, even if you're not.
I agree, Jackie.
All right, anybody else? Very well said. All right, that does it.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much for being here.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, we got a motion second?